We're now going to cook some Spanakopita, famous Greek recipe, spinach pie. So the first step is to chop an onion. Chop the onion quite finely. Now we want to heat up about half a cup of olive oil on the stove and cook the onion in that oil. Put our olive oil in the pan. Turn the heat on. And cook our onion. So our onion's been cooking for about 10 minutes. They're nice, just nice and slowly, so they're nicely soft. So now we've got to chop up some spring onions to add to this onion mixture. So we need about 1 cup of chopped spring onions. Okay, we'll add these to our onion on the stove. So in the spring onion goes. And just cook that long enough until it softens, just a few minutes. Looking good. Now for Spanakopita, you need to cook 1 large bunch of silver beet, or if you prefer spinach, you can use spinach. I prefer silver beet. So I've already pre-cooked this. Another time I'll show you how to cook this, but it's really simple. You just clean the stalks really well, cut off the hard bits, then chop them, just slice them all through, and then just microwave or boil them in a sauce for about 4 minutes, just until it softens. So this is my drained silver beet. Put this in a bowl. To that I add the onion and spring onion mixture. With oil. Mix it around so it all separates all those strands of silver beet. Not strands, pieces. Okay, now I have to add some 4 eggs. So give the eggs a bit of a beat. Add that to the spinach, the silver beet. To that I add about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. I love nutmeg. And some salt and some pepper. The next step is to prepare the feta cheese to add to that. So now I have my feta, which I'm just going to cut into small cubes. We always use Bulgarian feta. It's our favourite. It's creamy, It's not that expensive. And this has a really nice flavour, but any fatty you like, you may use. I don't actually measure, so I don't know, maybe 1 cup. I'll just add it to the mixture and see how it looks. So I'll try that much first. So this mixture in here with the eggs in, I'll just give this a nice stir to combine the eggs. You sort of get a feel for how much you think you need, just sort of, so it's nicely proportioned, the silver beet and the feta. I think I might just use this extra piece here so it's sort of more even. Pretty good. Now I just want to add a bit of a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. This helps bind it all together. And now I'm going to prepare the filo pastry to use as a last step. So now I have my pastry of 10 sheets of filo pastry here. My lasagna dish, and my ingredients already. My pastry brush with some olive oil in there. So what I'll do first, oh, by the way, I have the oven heating up to 180. It's on now. So now I just lightly grease the casserole, and then I start to oil the filo pastry. So now, the second sheet, and all together for the base of the Spanakopita, I just stack 5 sheets of filo pastry. So now we have our 5 sheets. The last sheet, I didn't oil that. I think there's enough oil in the whole mixture, so I don't bother to oil the last sheet. This now goes into our lasagna dish. Gently place it in so it all sits in neatly and nicely. And then you pour the mixture with the feta cheese and silver beet into that. Nice and even. And now what I do next is prepare the topping. So now we prepare another 5 sheets of filo pastry, oiling each layer. And this time I do oil the last layer, which will be the top layer. Go down to our last sheet, which I'll oil. And I also will oil the pastry that's already in the lasagna dish because it does begin to dry out a little bit. Now, the next step is to get this 5 sheets of filo pastry, place on top of the lasagna dish as evenly as you can. Then just tuck that top layer behind the bottom layer. Doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, now you just get a little bit of water in your hand from the tap. Whoops. And sprinkle on top. This will prevent it from curling up, because the next step now is to actually cut the filo pastry. So I usually cut the pastry right through. I usually cut it 5 ways that way and 3 ways this way. Just roughly. If you can't get all the way through, doesn't matter. Okay, that now goes in the oven for about 40 to 45 minutes. So it's nice and golden on top. So it's in the oven for 45 minutes. It's all beautifully golden brown. So now we're going to cut it into pieces and serve it.